Hi there guys, we're Micromundo, a small furniture design and construction studio here in Barcelona. And this isn't a tool demonstration, this is actually more of a little how-to. In the absence of a table router, I found myself asking the question, how do you turn let's say a plunge router into a small table router? And I saw lots of ingenious ideas online about this. There are many solutions. So for all those who, like Bender, would like to, void a warranty all night long, and for those like Millhouse who, if the disclaimers make you just want to do it more, this video is for you. If you're a nervous type and you don't like the idea of voiding warranties and doing things that manufacturers say very explicitly not to do, then this might not be your thing. So what we've got here is a little base, okay? This has to be put together pretty solidly. I use offcuts for everything, so it's, this is a bit of a, an hodgepodge of stuff. For this purpose, let's say you want to make a box lid, and you don't want to have to clamp an awkward shaped piece like this down and make 4 separate routes, or however what it is, because every time you go to get so far, you'll find that the router's just getting in the way. The clamps are getting in the way of the routing, rather. So what do? In this case, I've installed, just for the purposes of making any cut, I've installed a bit with a bearing here. You could do it just as well with the guide that comes with the tool. The principle is the same. The guide works as an edge, and in this case, it's the bearing that's giving you your edge. It doesn't make any difference. So what I did with this was, obviously this is to be clamped down. In one place, that should probably be enough. This is all screwed together. This piece here is designed to support where your handle goes in. I cut that at an angle very specifically, so this will rest on the bottom. Now, you're covering your air intake for the top of the motor, so I don't recommend doing this for long periods of time. Like I say, I don't necessarily recommend doing it at all. The tool can take it. This is my experience. For short jobs, it's more than adequate. So you position it here with the actual base firmly in position so it doesn't start moving as you try to clamp it. What I recommend is a piece of rubber or something that's going to take a little bit of the strain off the chassis, if you like, and stick a speed clamp on it. Okay, so your speed clamp then is going to have to not get in the way of your routing. So that's an important thing to consider. Okay, so you've got the router in position. You've got your jig clamped down firmly to the bench. One position should probably be enough. But what you probably want to do is make sure your speed clamps that you're using here to actually secure the tool to the jig are really sound. You don't want any movement there. I use a piece of rubber against the casing itself on the side because, I don't know, just to reduce the impact of the hard tips of the speed clamp against the actual casing while it's in operation. Key things to bear in mind with this: the direction of your cut. Now, obviously, there are ways you could figure this out. You could just fire the tool up and watch as it spins to a halt, or you could just work it out based on the normal operating direction of the tool, position and operating direction of the tool. Either way, what would happen is, if you fire it up when it's set up this way, and you don't bear in mind the direction of the cut, what will happen? You go in the wrong direction, and you'll be essentially trying to do a long back cut. What will happen? Well, the piece will probably jump. That's not really what you want. So to avoid that, you can just do a little test cut, a small incision, and the tool will tell you. You have to have a little bit of sensitivity to what the tool's trying to tell you. If it's making weird noises, if it's starting to jump, if it's vibrating more than normal, probably you're moving in the wrong direction. Okay. So what I've done is I've set up a bit here that has a bearing on it, just for the sake of ease. But you could just as well take the guide that I demonstrated in the other video for this tool and use it as your edge, like a fence, if you imagine. Now, initially what you might think is, oh, this is a bit dangerous, okay, because your fingers are close to the cutting edge of the tool. What you have to bear in mind is the traction system that's pulling pieces through a table router is going to be at least this, well, at least wider than the test piece I'm going to cut here. So you go, yeah, well, you can poke bits of wood in or whatever and, you know, keep your fingers away from it. But you see people working very, very close to these kind of things, and a table router is going to do you a lot more harm than this is. So bear that in mind. It might not be as dangerous as it looks if you're careful. Key things, obviously. You've rotated the tool 180 degrees. The router bit is pointing straight up in the air. You do not want this piece to come loose, so make sure that you have secured it firmly. Similarly with the depth, you know, make sure that you've got the depth absolutely where you want it, and the lever locked in position or screwed with the locking nuts to make sure that it doesn't move while it's in operation. Apart from that, there's nothing really else you need to do. Just give it a go. In this case, to get a really firm grip on the tool, I often don't actually wear gloves because they can be a little bit slippy on the surface against the underside of the tool, and I feel that you need to get a really good grip on this. So we'll give a little test cut and I'll just show you what you could do with it. But really the idea is to limit having to clamp down small pieces and then stop cuts, you know, stop route and move, you know, the clamps to get around them with the router. Often with by the time you combine the extraction system and clamps, there is no physical space to clamp small pieces down. You can't get an effective route on the go. And I find this way is pretty good. So again, MDF dust. I don't know what other people do with this. I always wear a mask for MDF, for everything really. Let's just give it a go. Incidentally, overcoming this principal safety feature of the tool. It goes against the grain to do this. I'm actually a fairly safety conscious person in general. Standard way of getting around it. Your inner switch here, on the inside edge, the little round one, is just almost in contact with the speed clamp I've installed here, because I've no space to set it further in. It's actually touching the body. You've just enough space to get your finger in there. Once you press that one down, then you have to press the lever switch, if you like, which is actually on the handle. What do you do to keep it in operation so you don't have to keep your fingers there? You drop some kind of thick rubber band around it, and it'll hold it in position. And the little one won't drop out until you release the if you like, the trigger switch. So that'll probably keep it more or less in position. Usually I find that's enough. So you'll see how it works in this video. Let's give it a go. So what you'll probably notice, you can see when you're fighting against the tool, you can tell that you're going against the direction it wants to cut in. So you're effectively doing a back cut. So I demonstrated that by using the same cut in more than more than one direction. What does it do? It produces a bit of burnout. In practice, a lot of router bits can actually handle cutting in both directions. You can see there's a small amount of burnout there. Okay, what I like to just do is just go around a corner and give you an idea how that works, because that's actually what's probably of most interest to you. If you want to go right around the edge of a piece, how do you go about doing that so that you can work neatly around a corner? Let's just give that a go. Okay, got all the safety gear off there. And you see, got a pretty tidy edge there. Now, obviously, if I haven't actually done this for a while, I haven't set this jig up for ages. Again, if you're working with a very long piece like this, it's not actually ideal. You're probably going to create a little bit of leverage here. And obviously, like I say, there's no AI built into this, so it'll dip and it'll cut your edge here, obviously. So you've got to make sure you keep it kind of level at all times. Long pieces like this are not ideal. No? Something half this size is probably not far off it. Just like anything, respect the tool, look where your hands are, keep a close eye on it, no monkeying about while you're doing this, and in principle you shouldn't have any problems. This is one of these things I don't recommend a complete novice tries. Get to grips with the router itself before you try modifying anything or building any jigs that are for a custom purpose like this. In principle, this is actually a very safe tool. If you use it just for edging, for normal routing work, this is just a bit of a little extra that you might want to try. What you can do if you want to do something like this and you're not at all comfortable with the idea of building your own table routing jig because you're worried you might, hurt yourself, double-sided tape or various clamping systems. I've tried double-sided tape, or you can build jigs. Pieces which are lower than the thickness, less than the thickness that you want to route, and clamp them down or screw them down, with countersinking bits, and then they can't move. That might be safe as well. I've tried that for other purposes. It depends a little bit on what it is you want to route, but in principle, that's what I recommend. If you want to set up a very, very quick plunge router to table router conversion, make sure that above all you have stability and you understand the direction of cut. That way you're going to get less burnout and there's a lot less chance that your piece is going to jump. Okay, thanks for watching.